Welcome to our latest video where we'll be taking a journey through the Hall of Fame of shame for cars. These are the vehicles that are more likely to leave you stranded on the side of the road than to get you to your destination. From budget-friendly compacts that are cheaper to tow than fix, to luxury sports cars that are more expensive to maintain than a small island. These are the cars that will make you question your love for automobiles. So sit back, relax, and get ready for a comedic ride through the most unreliable vehicles of all time. Let's get it started. 10. Pontiac Aztec. For those who thought major car manufacturers couldn't possibly mess up this bad beyond the Pontiac Aztec, according to Cheat Sheet, GM wanted to appeal to a younger crowd who loves roughing it, and the great outdoors, and taking risk. But it seems their ambition got the best of them, as the Aztec fell flat with buyers. The aesthetic alone makes grown men cry, and to just add insult to injury, GM rolled out the red carpet for this experimental SUV at the 2000 Detroit Auto Show, as Car and Driver reports. But what GM introduced with much fanfare would ultimately flop harder than a fish out of water. Number 9. Chrysler PT Cruiser Convertible. Ooh, my dad had one of these. The old saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words, is never more true than with looking at the PT Cruiser Convertible. It's like a visual representation of the word yikes. But instead of bearing it with more words, let's stick to the facts. According to Complex, Chrysler built this car with materials that would make a kindergarten art teacher blush, like ABS plastic. It's like they were trying to make a car out of cheap Legos. If anything, that kind of quality fits the questionable nature of the car perfectly. Number 8. Dodge Avenger. Quote, if the Avenger had come out more recently, it could have been marketed as the official car of Marvel's villains. According to Top Speed, the Avenger was an ungainly sedan with few redeeming features. While some might say that the noise it made was a sign of power, in reality it was just the sound of the car's engine crying for help. This car had a reputation for driving as slow as a snail in the desert. And let's not forget the exterior that was less inspiring than a bowl of plain oatmeal. But in the end, that's just the cherry on top of this car's sundae of problems. See what we did there? Number 7. Jaguar X-Type. Jaguar has had a bit of a spotty past when it comes to building high-quality vehicles, let's say that. But the X-Type takes the cake in this matter, or rather, the moldy bread, shaped like cake. On the outside, it looks like your average run-of-the-mill sedan, but the history behind the vehicle tells a different story. According to Cheat Sheet, Jaguar intended the front-wheel drive X-Type to take on cars from the likes of BMW, Mercedes, and Audi, but it was like trying to win a race with a unicycle. Due to the vehicle's poor quality, it never stood a chance. Jaguar had high hopes that the X-Type would appeal to the new demographics that wasn't used to buying from this brand, but the flaws were so glaring it ended up defining its legacy, a legacy of being a lemon. Number 6. Kia Amanti. The Kia Amanti may seem unassuming at first glance, but it's hiding a dark past. Let's get into it. There might have been high hopes for the car at the time, as it was a milestone for the automaker. According to Jalopnik, the Amanti, also known as operous, meaning sour or maybe even moldy, bread, was the first sedan made by a Korean automaker for sale in the United States. But one of the problems was the 4,100-pound weight and inability to go very fast. It was like trying to race a refrigerator. With these kinds of attributes, the Amanti didn't have much to go off of. Instead, released to a cold world. Its faulty machinery gave it a limited run, and all that's left is the memory of this failed vehicle, a memory that we'd like to forget. Number 5. Toyota Echo. Even the best of us make mistakes, and Toyota is no exception. Introducing the Echo, the car that's like an older uncle trying to act cool to impress the single ladies. According to the automaker, the Echo was Toyota's attempt to appeal to a different generation of car buyers, but it seems like they missed the mark in this unorthodox exterior design. People didn't latch on, and it was like trying to sell a fashion disaster, especially with the speedometer in the middle, the center of the dashboard, seeming like they were trying to save money by not having to make another gauge cluster. But it just screams cheap and desperate. Number 4. Volkswagen Tiguan. Introducing the 2022 Volkswagen Tiguan, the car that's like a teenager on a cold winter morning. It takes forever to get moving. Customers have reported that the vehicle hesitates greatly during cold starting weather. It's like it needs a cup of coffee before it can function properly. And don't even get us started on the infotainment system. It's like a computer from the 90s, freezing, unresponsive, and rebooting all the time. You'll be having a conversation with the GPS and it'll freeze mid-sentence, like a bad case of stage fright. Number 3, Pontiac Grand Prix GXP. Starting on a high note, the Grand Prix GXP is the last Pontiac on the list, so we're going out with a bang. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about the impressive power this thing has. According to Edmunds, the 5.3-liter V8 engine is no pushover, capable of doing 303 horsepower. It also is front-wheel drive, which is sure to raise eyebrows and a few questions like, why would they do that with such high performance? It's like they're putting roller skates on a cheetah. Another odd choice, as Edmunds points out, is the wider front tires, differing from the rear configuration. It's like they couldn't make up their mind if they wanted to go fast or slow. Number 2, Chevrolet Silverado. Introducing the Chevy Silverado, the truck that's like a moody teenager. One minute it's running smooth and the next it's giving you trouble. Customers have reported issues with the transmission, slipping gears, or even going into neutral, especially after a cold start. It's like the truck needs a cup of coffee before it can function profitably, maybe even 2 cups. Some customers also complain about the engine defaulting into a power reduced mode. And don't even get us started on the battery, which is terrible from the get-go. Finally, there are a handful of complaints relating to the vehicle's braking system too, cooling components, and some of its technological features. Number 1 on our list, Mercedes-Benz GLE. Being number 1 on this list is not something manufacturers aspire to be, but the Mercedes-Benz GLE has found itself in the hot seat. Between 2021 and 2022, these model years, there have been 28 complaints of the engine and electrical systems either reducing power while driving or cutting out altogether. Like a terrible game of musical chairs, the GLE has 3 recalls currently for the 2023 model alone, and last year there were 18 recalls. Looks like this Mercedes-Benz needs to step up its game and make sure their cars don't leave their customers stranded on the side of the road. Well, folks, that concludes our journey through the Hall of Fame shame for the most unreliable vehicles in history. We hope you enjoyed the ride and learned a thing or two about what not to buy. And remember, just because a car looks pretty on the outside doesn't mean that it's not a complete lemon on the inside. Until next time, drive safe and don't let your next car be the one on this list.